Wow. This ends right here, the very last talk that Jesus said publicly with all the crowds. And he's talking especially about the Pharisees and scribes. And the warning is very powerful, it's very strong. And he blames them because of their sin and their wickedness, and especially because they were about to literally put him on the cross. He says all the judgment that's going to come down on all the prophets from old, all the many prophets that died, a lot of them. A few of them to mention is Isaiah died, Psalm and 2. Ezekiel was martyred, they killed him. Jeremiah was martyred, Micah was martyred, Amos was martyred. Even the Abel, the guy from the very beginning, even up to a guy named Zacharias. And it's not exactly for sure in my studies so far which Zacharias there is. There's different ones. He says here that the son of Barachiah. So who is that? It could be the guy who wrote the Zechariah, the book Zacharias. Or it could be another guy. But anyway, it says, and so upon you will come all the righteous blood. These are all righteous people. And he says, upon you, this generation, in other words, this group of people that he's talking to right then. Wow. Imagine this being told you or me. Whew. And upon you will come all the righteous blood that has been shed on earth. Every righteous person that ever shed, he said, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zacharias son of Barachiah, whom you murdered between the temple and the altar. There's this one guy that was murdered right there. He says, I tell you the truth, all this, all the judgment, he's saying, will come upon this generation. To think about all the blood that was shed. I did this in the video previously. This is like a measuring cup. Can you see this right here? You can see all the measurements here. God basically saw all the righteous blood that was ever spilled, and it measured up. You know, he says, you're going to have to answer for all of it, because they were so wicked, the wicked people of Jerusalem here in the leadership and all. Man, so pretend this is blood here. Just look at the blood that was shed, and he says, upon you is going to come the judgment of all that. All that blood that was shed. It filled it up. I'm not going to fill this up so it doesn't spill. That is really super, super, super intense. I don't know. If Jesus said that to me, I would break down right there. Weep and repent. So, wow. See, how you treat others is going to come back on you. If you're treating someone really poorly, you need to change it. And they literally murdered Jesus, and they murdered these prophets. Even though, remember, Jesus said, you guys are taking care of their tombs and their grave sites and all that, of the prophets and all the righteous people. Yet they were the ancestors, spiritual ancestors, the descendants of the people that killed those prophets. You guys are kind of like their children, their sons. And boy, that's scary. The blood of all those prophets is going to come. It's like their blood is on their hands, like, they're the murderers. And death is coming on them. And it's an eternal death that's going to come on them. Very serious word. Jesus really was trying to reach them, and he was also telling the people around what type of people that really are the leadership there. For the most part, there were some good, I'm sure there were good leaders. Like there was Nicodemus, who was one of the big leaders. He was a good guy. Joseph of Arimathea, and others that weren't named. But for the most part, the majority of them, judgment is coming upon them. And he's warning them ahead of time about it. Judgment day is coming upon us too, upon you and me. It's really important to get your life right. You can come to God and say, forgive me for how I've treated people. I want pity and mercy, Lord. Please have mercy on me. And he can cleanse you. You may have not been a murderer. I hope not. But your words and your evil towards them and your feelings towards them and all that are really important to get it right. Otherwise, you're going to be like vipers, serpents, See here, there's a viper, there's a serpent. You don't want to be like snakes, you know. You don't want the nature of Satan in you, that venom, that poisonous hatred towards people. These guys had that, and Jesus was trying to reach them. All right, God bless you, and thanks for listening. We're almost done with the chapter, so hang in there, chapter 23.